Happy New Year, value investors. We're beginning 2024, and I wanted to set my goals for the new year. I want to think about what I want to achieve this coming year. I also want to look back and see how 2023 went, how 2022 went. Overall, I think goal setting should be really specific to where you're at in life, what your age is, what you intend on doing, and really important is, how do you need this capital? Do you need this money to live off of? Are you just growing your money and so forth? When I was 25, I was in high growth stocks, and that was the right thing to do. Just grow, grow, grow. I didn't need any of the money. And as life evolved, I'm now 55 and I'm looking at retiring early. So I want my investments to really align with what I want to do over the next 5 years, which potentially is stop working. Having said that, my investments need to be stable. I don't want big drops like the one we saw in 2022. And I want my portfolio to generate income, all while I still want my overall portfolio to keep growing in value. So those are the needs that I have as an individual value investor. I encourage you to think about, what is it you're doing? If you're a youngster, just, it's a pretty good idea just to grow your money. Just grow it and make as much money as you can. If you're around my age, a little older, a little younger, but around my age, I encourage you to think about, what is what is your need of that capital? Will you need to start withdrawing that capital on the next 5 to 10 year horizon? And I think that should affect the type of investments that you make. I say that because going into 24, my portfolio continues to evolve, and it evolves from being aggressive to being safer, from being high growth to more of an income producing portfolio. And in 23, I'll get into this a little more later, but I really grew my bond portfolio, and it really has been working. It generates a lot of income, and that's what I want out of that bond portfolio. So I'm going to go over my goals and just share those with you. I encourage you to do the same thing. Put a stake in the ground at the beginning of 2024, and then revisit it at the end of the year and see how things went. Looking at the past 5 years, boy, we've had an interesting 5 years. I'll start off with the pandemic that happened in 2020 and the big drop in stock prices that really happened over a month or 2 months. I didn't sell any of my stock shares. Wanted to see how things were going to play out. And I'm glad I didn't sell anything because the market really rallied back quickly, and I ended up having a positive year in 2020. And then 2021 was a boom year. So overall, we came back from that pandemic quite fast and very well. In 2022, things really went down. We saw stock prices go down 25%. If you look at the S&P index, the NASDAQ did even worse. Tech stocks, some of our favorite names like NVIDIA, Tesla, went down a lot. And it was fairly incredible to see these awesome companies discounted as much as they were. So I bought them up, and it was a good plan. I bought a lot of Meta, a lot of Amazon, Alphabet, and I'm glad I did so because the following year, the market really has recovered. And this is really going back to the lowest point, which happened in 2022. So it's more of a 14, 16 month time horizon. The market's up 33%. And I like looking at the 5 year because it also sets up the current year, 2024. Are we going to continue on this winning streak? We're up 33%. It's possible. I just think it's more possible that we're either going to see prices relatively flat or slightly up or slightly down. So that's my expectation. I'm not a fortune teller. I don't have a crystal ball. I'm just kind of making sense of the data, making sense of history, and setting my expectation that, hey, to repeat the year we've had here in 2023, I would be the first one to welcome it, but I'm not expecting it. I'm expecting a very modest year. 2023 was a very good year for my growth stock portfolio. My growth stocks went up 34%. That's including some cash. And that's a really good return. I'll take it. It was better than the S&P. Didn't quite do as well as the NASDAQ, but that's a very good return. I'll take it. The income stock portfolio that I have underperformed the S&P this year. But in 2022, my income stock portfolio outperformed the S&P. So it's nice to know that, hey, my income stock portfolio, which does have some conservative stocks, didn't keep up with the market this year. But when the market does go down, those stocks really hold their value well and they pay a dividend. I really grew in 23 my bond portfolio, and it did really well. It really generated the income that I'm looking for out of my bond portfolio, which is exactly what I'm looking for. Based on the performance of both my dividend portfolio and my bond portfolio, it covers 53% of my living expenses. One of the goals that I have is getting that to 100%, which would mean that I would never have to sell a share or any of my principal in order to live off of my portfolio. It could just keep growing, and I would just live off the dividends and the interest. And it was a really good step in 2023 towards that goal of getting to 100%. Something really important is I learned a tremendous amount in 2023. And every year I try to learn. I try to be better. I try to get better. One of the things that was good for my learning was getting a lot of feedback on this channel. So I appreciate everybody's feedback and comments. I learned a lot online from other investors that also share their analysis and what they invest in. And I read. I read quite a bit. So I continue to, I think, get better, get wiser. And that's going to set me up just to, again, continue to get better and over time just make more money off of my portfolio. In 2024, I expect we're going to have a light recession. I don't think that's news to anyone. And I expect that interest rates are going to begin to come down. They have been coming down. I think they'll come down even further and probably level off, especially around the times when the Federal Reserve, they're expected to lower interest rates. Around those moments, I think interest rates will drop a little further. And I expect modest gains on stocks. I think it's going to be really important to be in the right sectors. It's going to be really interesting to see how the Magnificent Seven do in 2024. I think some of them are going to be okay. They're going to have some gains, and some I think are going to have trouble. I continue to believe that Tesla is just completely overpriced. I owned Tesla a long time ago. I continue to believe that they're a car company. A lot of people treat them as a technology company. They may be right, but if I'm right and they're a car company, they're extremely overvalued. And it may be a pretty painful year for Tesla stockholders in 2024, as an example, as well as semiconductors. Semiconductors, I think, are overpriced. I sold Broadcom in 2023 after gaining on the stock, and the stock's just gone really, really high with the expectation that artificial intelligence is going to drive a lot of demand. It may, but it may not. I don't know that AI is going to be a business that has monetization and staying power for a long time. We'll see. We'll see. I think 2024 will tell us a lot about AI and how much companies are willing to invest in it. Like Meta found out about the metaverse is you can't put a bunch of money into something that doesn't have monetization. It doesn't have a return. And that's where AI is going to have to put up or shut up, which is companies that are putting money into AI are going to have to show a return in the form of revenue, in the form of profit, or they're going to have to really be disciplined about not spending too much on AI. We will see. I think 2024 will be really important, and we'll see which companies are really going to try to have a business around AI and which businesses are just, adding to the hype by just talking about AI and how great it's going to be. It'll be really interesting to see that happen in 2024. So my goals in 2024 is first is to do better than the stock market by going into sectors that I believe are going to do really well in 2024. Healthcare and financials are the right sectors. I also believe that small mid cap stocks are going to do really well. And I've been saying that about small mid cap stocks for 3 months. It's not just, I don't listen to CNBC and all the other news agencies and start repeating what they say. It's something that I've been doing. I've been investing in especially financial stocks, small and mid cap stocks for 3 months, and it's really paid off toward the end of 2023. I think they're going to continue to do well. I think healthcare is way undervalued. So I'm betting big on healthcare. I think that putting my capital into these areas is going to reward me at the end of 2024. The other goal around income is to grow my the amount of dividends and the amount of interest from bonds to get to 60% or greater of my living expenses. Again, my goal is to retire at some point, and my goal is to get to 100%. And if I get to 100% of my living expenses covered by dividends and bond interest payments, I pretty much have a good portfolio of stocks, and I could just live off of the dividend and income and interest income. So that's one of the goals. And I want to get to 60% or higher. I want my stocks and overall my investments to grow by 10% or more. Swinging for the fences in 2024 might be foolish. I will welcome a repeat of 2023. I really would. But I think it's irrational to think that we're going to have back-to-back years like that, especially knowing that we have a recession in store for us. And some of these companies, I mean, it's not like we have companies that are growing dynamically, especially these tech stocks. They're growing. Some of them are growing modestly. In the case of Apple, as an example, they're not growing at all, but they have a $3 trillion valuation. I'm not sure how an investor can justify, hey, I'm an Apple investor. The company's not growing. They're under threat from Huawei, which is the Chinese smartphone company. They're under threat from Samsung, who puts out a really nice device. They're under threat from Alphabet, who's putting out a really nice device. We'll see how that sorts itself out. But I think that expecting a repeat of 2023 is just, for me, irrational. And I'd rather just be sensible and think, if I can get to 10%, I'll be very happy in 2024 because 2023 was such a good year. Hey, thank you for watching the video. I hope you found it interesting, and I hope you get a chance to plan out the goals that you have for 2024. I encourage you to really tailor your goals around what you want out of this portfolio that you manage, or the assets that you manage in the next 5 years, and align with what you want this portfolio to do for you, whether it be paying for your living expenses, or if you just want to make sure you grow your portfolio. If you're young and just want to be in a growth mode, I totally get that. Overall, I think it was an awesome year, 2023, great gains. And I'm really looking forward to 2024. I think it's going to be a really interesting year. A lot of things will be determined as it is every year. And it'll be really neat to see things sort themselves out. I also look forward to learning more. I think there's always an opportunity to learn and get better at investing. That's part of my passion, is fueled by the activity of learning and just getting better. I appreciate you watching this video. I also appreciate you watching the videos through 2023. Appreciate everybody that provided feedback on videos. I really appreciate it. Have learned from a lot of the viewers. So I appreciate all your comments. And I want to wish you the best of success in investing in 2024. Wish you the best of health and the best of luck to you and your family. Thanks again for watching.